You've tuned in to Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give, a weekly podcast hosted by two veterans dedicated to politics, current events, interviews, and anything else they want to mention, but probably shouldn't. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Robbie the Dream Gaupp and Brett Miracle Man Parks.
Hey! Wow, every time there's such a big audience with us. It's incredible. Everyone's here cheering. Thank you guys so much. It's good to see you. This one person has been here the whole time. And when I mean person, I mean a picture that's right there. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give. I am Brett Parks.
And I am Robbie Gaupp.
We are excited today. This is our first official live podcast. Now, we are completely live. You can sign in right now. You can tune in. You can click the link in the Zoom meeting, and you will be here, and you'll get to see our beautiful faces. And when I say that, Robbie's got a really beautiful face. I just have a manly face. And and you also get to hear us mess up and the looks that we give each other when we don't know what each other are talking about. But anyways, saying that, Robbie, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
Good? Yeah. So what we got today, bud?
We have a lot of interesting news this week. I mean, so many things have happened, from the bombings in Austin, Texas, to the shooting in Maryland. I mean, and strange news. What else? Can't leave the podcast without some strange news.
Dude, we got some strange news, and it's disgusting. I don't know how certain people live with themselves. That's how strange this news is. But yeah, we do have, there's a lot of news in the headlines this past week. And I am, after drinking my water, I'm pretty amazed at humanity right now, both in good ways and bad ways, mostly in bad ways, but it's not a lost cause yet. So since we're live, we're waiting on some people to go ahead and sign on. And we have a few right now, but I do want to get into the first news story. And what you got there, Robbie?
Well, we have the bombing in Austin. You know, packages were being sent out and dropped on people's doorsteps that, you know, had tripwires. Oof. So when they open them up, bang, boom, gone.
Yeah, they say it was nails and glass and stuff in there.
Pretty crazy. With people these days, it's showing that people will go through any length of measure to create harm to people if that's what they want to do, if that's their plan. And it's not so much guns. I mean, it goes from bombs, explosions, to vehicles, to, I mean, anybody who wants to do that kind of stuff is going to do it. It doesn't matter whatever's in their way, they'll find a way around that to get to where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, there is some good news when it comes to that whole bombing thing. How many bombs was it that he let on? 4 or 5? 5. So 5. And then last night, what happened?
Last night, as the SWAT team, they actually realized who it was and figured out through some tracing of some receipts and stuff like that who the bomber was, and they didn't put out his name or nothing so that he couldn't run away or find a way to get away from all the action. So what they did is they waited till he went to a hotel while the SWAT team was trying to gather the team together. He actually drove away from the hotel. Well, they ended up chasing him down to Round Rock by vehicle, and he ended up pulling over on I-35. And while pulled over, as the SWAT team pursued the vehicle, he detonated an explosive on himself. So that's good news.
He's dead.
He's dead. Took himself out.
Thank you, God. Took care of that.
Not sure if he was shot or not, as a SWAT team member did shoot at him. I don't know if it was to wound him or just to stop him from creating an explosion that could have hurt more people. But he did take a shot at him, and one SWAT member was injured with the explosion.
Okay. Yeah, he must have been the one that at that point and got caught with it. How's he? He's not like in critical. He's just.
Yeah, he was just injured. It's not critical condition.
And well, you know what? From what I was hearing, I think I read somewhere, and I don't have the actual website where I read it. I apologize about that. But they're saying that he might have been influenced by the Unabomber movie that was on A&E. What was it called? Yeah. It was called like
I'm not sure. There was the Waco, and then there was the
it was the Unabomber one. It was like a six episode series thing. Yeah, and I watched it, and it was really amazing. But he was like, from what I heard, he was influenced by that, and he was he quoted by saying, "I just want to kill people."
Yeah, that's
so yeah. If you want to kill people, you're going to find a way, right?
You're going to find a way.
Yeah, you'll find it. Man, well, that's good news that he can't hurt anyone else anymore. It's bad.
What's sad is that humanity has come to that.
Yes,
that people literally have to think about killing people. And it's
that's the tragic thing. But what is it, Robbie? What is it? Is it video games? Is it the fact that there aren't enough dads in the home? Is it the lack of religion? Is it, lack of discipline? What is this stuff?
I put it to the lack of discipline. I mean, I will say, at least whether you're religious or not, people out here that are listening and watching, it does have a good moral standard. There's a good moral code that people can follow that is going to help them gain influence from something that's not going to be telling them, hey, you should go do this, you should go do that. Instead, it's a moral code that says, hey, you shouldn't do this, right, because if there's consequences if you do these kind of things. And those are things that aren't told to our kids every single day, that there's a consequence for the things that you do. Some kids don't have that at all. So, I mean, and with games and movies and all these other things around them that I'm not going to say they influence them, but they do digress the criminal acts by giving it right to your hands,
Jeez.
So, and that's the sad thing, is that it is put out there that, cops, we see it on TV every day that, hey, cops are bad, firefighters bad. Everything seems to be bad by somebody because they aren't helped by it. And then kids nowadays say, hey, I'm going to take this into my own control and try to fix solutions myself.
So have you seen on A&E, have you seen that show Live PD?
I have.
Okay. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Those of you that have not watched Live PD, if you want to lose faith in humanity, watch 2 episodes. No, watch an hour of Live PD. It's a 3-hour show. It's on Friday and Saturdays. And my wife and I, it's our favorite show. We DVR it and then we watch like an hour or 30 minutes at a time throughout the week. And it literally, the premise of the show is you have police sheriff's departments in 7 different counties around the nation. And it's completely live. It's like Cops, but completely live. So they could be following this sheriff that pulled over someone for a traffic stop. And then there's like a shooting in, I don't know, Richmond, South Carolina. So then they quickly go there to follow those sheriffs. And it's a really cool idea. But something I've learned is that if it's Friday or Saturday night, no one on the road has an ID or a license, and they all have weed in their cars. Those are the 2 things that I get out of Live PD. I'm like, Are you guys serious? I never leave the house without some sort of ID. And if I do leave the house without some sort of ID, I stop, turn around, and come back home because I feel that naked without it. And these people are just driving around with not just no ID, but they never had a license. And they're driving around, and then they get mad at the police officers for arresting them or ticketing them for not having ID or license. It's incredible.
Even going back to like when Cops was on, it shows the intelligence of humanity by when those people get caught on television, even Live PD. Like when you I never knew I had to have a license. You're supposed to have a driver's license. You can't even tell me you didn't know that.
Right. Right. It's what I saw the other day. It made me laugh so hard. So this one guy, he got pulled over. Right. So he got pulled over and he was he thought he had warrants. So he decided to give his brother's social security number so he wouldn't get in trouble. So he gave his brother's social security number, and it turns out his brother had warrants and he didn't. So he got arrested, and they're like, oh wait, no, it's my brother's. That's my brother's social security. And they're like, and you just are getting charged with providing false information. Like, are you serious? That really just happened. So yeah, got that going for us. So Live PD, man, it's incredible. It's really something.
Welcome to the people who tuned in. If you have any questions or anything, just go ahead and chat them, send them in the chat bar, and so we can answer some of your questions if you also have any.
Yeah, see, Matt's on. My boy, I have to make a correction. Matt, I apologize. Matt, who did you have number 1 in top 5 MCs? Number 5, he had NSYNC. I said it was number 1, but I'm sorry, Matt. It was number 5 that was NSYNC. I think number 1 was the Fat Boys. Is that what? No, that's bad. And Tom, good to see you. Glad you're here. Your beard's getting long, brother. Getting long. And look, you know what, man? This is why I love my mom. She's coming on to support me. Not only did she support me by letting me sleep in the basement but but she's on here now. So yeah. So live PD on A&E. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's incredible. Let's segue that to some serious news. The shooting in Maryland, which relatively has a happy ending, relatively speaking, right?
Yeah, I mean, a happy ending, sad ending. You know, it's one of them things. You when you look at it, a life was still taken, even though more lives could have been. You know,
Right.
Two lives were saved, but a life had to be taken. That's how I look at that.
Right.
And it is sad because we're losing kids to bullets that really are choices on their own because they make bad choices. I mean, this is over a girl. That's crazy that this came down to an argument and a fight that lost life. I mean, jealousy.
It's really tragic. But I do commend the school for having an armed police officer. What are they called? They're resource officers, correct?
Yeah, they're resource officers. It's Deputy First Class Blaine Gaskill.
Gaskill, man, he stepped up. He ran towards the gunfire when a lot of people would run away from it. So he did his job. He is the hero here. He is the hero. Let's not forget that.
Yes, definitely.
And he did what he was supposed to do. And I'm sure today, you know, he took a life, and taking a life is never an easy thing. And today, I'm sure he's a little bit affected by it, but I know he's going to sleep well at night, knowing that more people could have gotten killed or injured, and he did what he was supposed to do. So kudos to you, sir. You're a hero, and we commend your action yesterday.
You're an amazing man.
Oh, Slick Rick. Matt McDonald said Slick Rick was number one. So my apologies, sir. But yeah, so it's a good thing. Good guy with a gun beat bad guy with a gun. Thank goodness.
This also can go on to the same thing like Donald Trump was saying. If we have armed people in schools, we could neutralize this threat. Not saying that that's going to stop it, because where you take it away from one spot, they may wait out in the parking lot for, you know, the others to come. Who knows? But at least you can neutralize the one situation if armed people are there.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think a lot of times in the past, you kind of put resource officers in the schools, and it was almost like that was, I don't want to say their punishment, but it's kind of like they just put somebody in there. But they can't do that anymore. They have to put like actual guys that are willing to risk their lives for these children and these young adults. So, but
yeah, I watched a video yesterday. There was a PTA meeting. I'm not sure if people seen it on Facebook or not. There was this older gentleman. He just went in because he has two daughters at the school, and there's some kids in there. This kid stood up and he was like, you know, we need to make a security. We don't need guns. We need to get rid of guns, this and that. The older gentleman stood up in front of the kid and said, well, what are you going to do whenever somebody pulls out a knife? And he pulls out his knife, of course, and the kid freaks out on the video and is like, oh my gosh, he has a switchblade and this and that. Wasn't even a switchblade. But he's like, this is how easy it is to get in somewhere. If I wanted to kill someone, I could. Like, this is how easy it is.
Yeah. Do you see all the parents around there going, that's illegal. That's illegal. You can't do that. It's like, shush, please.
Yeah, it's a little pocket knife. Like, but it does show that those kind of things, the kids today are built on this mindset that anything can harm them, and anything can't harm you. Yes. But then you're so worried about these major things that, I mean, like we talked about on one of our last podcasts, in China, you know, 5 people killing hundreds of people with knives and stabbing them.
Right. I mean, if I were that man that had the folding knife, and I wouldn't have gotten in his face and been so confrontational, because that's something my dad would do. If I ever go out to a restaurant with my dad, it's like he makes a point to try to make the waiter's life a living hell, right? So and every time I'm out with my dad and he's talking to the waitress or waiter or server, whatever, I'm always there like with my head down, shaking my head like, Dad, come on, man. So it's like one of those things. Like you can prove a point without being so confrontational. I didn't like the way he did it, but I understood his point.
But then there was also a girl. I don't know if you've seen there was a girl that stood up and was talking about the Florida shooting whenever they did the school release for the kids to go the march.
Right.
When they did that, and she stood up and said, you know, you have these kids in your class that you don't talk to. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, talk to people let them know that, hey, you're still loved, because you don't know what people are going through at home,
Right.
much less at school.
Right.
Those struggles are the things that, nowadays we can't see those from the front line, as the people behind us are struggling with their parents or with their friends at home or this or that. And that's the biggest part I think we have to take from this kind of stuff is, like this kid, he was jealous. But maybe if jealousy wasn't a big deal because people loved him around him, he said, hey, you know what? A girl's a girl and I can find another one.
Yeah. I know in high school, man, it's like, that's your world. I was dating a girl for 3 years maybe in high school and in my first year into college. And if she was upset, like my world was over. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? She's not going to be my wife now. Oh man, it was so disgusting. Yeah, it's people, these kids need to learn that, man, it's not the end of the world. And I know a lot of, not just children, but a lot of immature people think that today is the rest of their life. And it's not. Today's just today. Tomorrow is going to be tomorrow. I have my days in the morning where I wake up and the last thing I want to do is open my eyes or get out of bed or put on my prosthetic. But the next day I'll feel completely different. I'll be like, all right, let's attack this day. Let's do it. And so today's just today and tomorrow's tomorrow. Next day's next day. So I think a lot of kids need to learn this stuff.
I think the biggest thing too is, as parents nowadays, I'm not saying we have lots of money or anything, but we do easily give into our kids. Like if our kids are crying or they're upset or this or that, we go buy them a gift. And nowadays kids don't, like if you take something from them, they know they're going to get it back by the end of the week.
Yes.
It's like they know that. So it's like, okay, I don't care no more. My kids, at least 6 months to a year ago, I've been trying to stress that, hey, guys, there's kids out here that don't have nothing. And y'all are very fortunate.
Right.
But at the same time, like my kids still don't understand that. So now I'm like, hey, I'm taking things away from you. Mm-hmm. You're not getting them back. I don't care. I'll throw it in the trash. I'd rather waste my money than sit here and be nice to you all the time and you not understand, because they don't have no feelings anymore.
Right.
Like it's sad.
Do you see that one, that meme around Christmas time where they're like, you really want to get your kids, wrap up a bunch of empty boxes under the tree. And if they do something bad, you say, oh, I'm throwing this in the fire. And you go and you throw it in the fire and burn it up. So they're like, no, my toy. But there's nothing in there. So that really sobers them up. So, oh my gosh. My dad,
like when I was growing up, I wasn't really fortunate to have a lot of money. And my parents would give me my broken toys that were out of my toy box that came from the bottom because I didn't even know I had it anymore. Because I just didn't play. I didn't go in there and get it. The toys at the bottom of my thing. And I'm not saying that was a great thing or nothing like that, but I think it made me respect more, because when my parents did give me something new, I took care of my toy because I know, hey, this might be getting rewrapped one year, But I didn't want broken, hurt He-Man's arm missing.
Oh, that's so true. Well, that's great. Well, let's move on. We got a lot of news. I do want to talk about this because this is pretty exciting for me. And this came from, where did this come from? SportsIllustrated.com. And I'm not a Sports Illustrated guy. I don't like Sports Illustrated. I don't like reading about sports. I like watching sports. But here's the headline. It says 8-team XFL competitor plans to launch in February 2019. Now, we have the NFL and we have the XFL that's coming out. Well, this is a new thing. It's called the AAF, Alliance of American Football, and it's from Charlie Ebersol. And he announced Tuesday that he plans to launch a football league next February. It's right after the Super Bowl in February. And the league is called the Alliance of American Football and will feature 8 50-man teams playing a 10-game schedule that begins February 9th. And I am so excited about this. And they're trying – it says here that – the league is hoping to draw talent from wealth of high-level college players who don't make it to the NFL. Now, this is why this excites me. Because it's football. That's the only reason why. Because during the beginning of football season, especially college football, I watch college football 14 weeks down the road. It's over, and my life feels like it's a little darker. I force myself to watch pro football, but those guys are such prima donnas that I'm like, ugh, I hate myself for watching this. But now you're going to throw in XFL, which was really revolutionary at the time it was first launched. And I think people, because of that 30-30 documentary about XFL, people are going to appreciate it more. So not only do you have that, but then after NFL finishes, this AAF is going to come out, and you're going to see at least 10 more weeks of football. So I am such a happy camper. I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I was just thinking that actually today when I was in the car, I was sitting there thinking, man, we should have football that when it ends, that even if they have to rotate season, like, hey, have a summer league, have a summer season too as well. Like we
Right.
have all these months that we don't have football that we could be doing something with. Like I understand basketball takes over and this and that, but those are sports that are, small to me. I love watching football. It's an American sport. It's probably the second greatest American sport next to baseball. So
Yeah, I agree. Well, what is it? Howie Long, I think he repeated this from someone else, but he said during his Hall of Fame speech, he said, baseball is America's favorite pastime, but football is America's passion.
Yep.
And
Sure.
I really do believe that. I love baseball. I love the purity of it. I love the history behind it, but I'm not as passionate about it as I am football. I'll watch baseball, but I will study football. And I think it's good. We have a question here from Tom. It says, hey, fellow Parks missing. So here's a question to you both. What are your opinions on all the garbage talking about our president? For 21 years while on active duty, I fought those who were on AD trashing our commander-in-chief, no matter who it was at the time, and still defend the current commander-in-chief. What are your opinions? What say you, Robbie?
I believe I'm going to go back to when the Obama administration was in, because I got wounded then. And that's whenever I seen it the most. Like you could say something about the president, and I'm not going to say it was just color people that would stand up and say, hey, you can't be talking about our commander in chief. But a lot of times it was, and I agreed. I said, hey, this commander in chief can't say nothing negative, this and that, because I still have my opinions, but I didn't argue with whatever that was said to me. And I agree to the same thing today. I believe if you're in the military, you should not be trashing your commander in chief, because that's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
He's your boss.
And I was put on the forefront with that because, like I said, whenever I made an opinion one time about Obama and somebody stated that to me, I said, oh, you're right, I guess, and they told me, hey, you can get in trouble for this. And I said, oh, okay, I know that. Like, but it wasn't even nothing negative. They just took it as a negative thing.
Right.
But then now to watch people who supported Obama walk around and bash Donald Trump and whoever the president, it wouldn't even matter. I feel it's crazy because now it was only because what benefited you.
Right.
You didn't do it because you liked the president or this or that. It was just a benefit to you because, yes, there was a black president at the time, and you stood up for the black cause. I guess if that's what you feel was the reason. I'm not sure, but it's like I feel the same way about Donald Trump. I believe he's the president of the United States. In other countries, you're not allowed to walk around. If it was in Russia and you were talking about Putin, I think you'd probably be put to death.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
Yes, easily.
Sure.
And I feel that should be the same thing here. We shouldn't have that right to sit here and just bash the president over and over. Whether you're news, whether you're a person just bipartisan that doesn't feel like standing up and saying, hey, you know what? I don't like him. I don't like what he represents or this or that, but I have to keep that to myself. But we in America give freedom of speech, and I accept that, which I don't agree that should be allowed in any way. Because just like when we went to London, Brett, people didn't bash any prince or the queen or anything like that. That wasn't acceptable.
Right. Yeah. It's courtesy. I believe that you're right as far as the being in and listening, serving in the United States military. We are not allowed to criticize the standing commander in chief. That's against the rules. We could be anywhere from separated to court-martialed, whatever you say. It's wrong. And I enlisted under George W. Bush. I served under President Barack Hussein Obama. And now I'm not in, Trump is in. I believe in giving respect to the office. I believe giving respect to the office. That's first and foremost. There are some great things that presidents do. There are some horrible things that presidents do. The thing that we need to remember is that presidents are also humans, and they make mistakes. And I understand that. Now, there's some things that Trump has done that I'm like, you know what? Don't be an idiot. But then there's other things Trump has done. So, you know what? That was high class. Good job. The problem is that it has gotten so vile lately. It has gotten so polarizing, and people, the whole "not my president" thing is just that's not constructive. That's not helpful. Yes, we have a right to freedom of speech, but with those rights come responsibilities. And that's what people forget, is that rights and responsibilities. We have a responsibility to use our voices wisely and not say, I'm a nasty woman, or he's not my president, or, he's a PUSSY grabber. It's not beneficial. That doesn't help anything. We need to come together. I was talking to a guy at CrossFit, and if you don't know this, everyone that does CrossFit talks about CrossFit. So I have CrossFit now. So I was there, and he was talking about how it's been so polarizing that we need somebody right in the middle, kind of like a mediator, like an independent guy, say, okay, conservatives, Republicans, you want this, liberal Democrats, you want this. How can we get back into the middle and work this country back out? My fear is that it's too late. My fear is that we've gotten too far over the edge. That it's to the point of like Civil War level now, where if you support Trump, you're a horrible person. If you support Hillary, you don't care about the law. It's stuff like that, and it's not beneficial. We need to come to grips and start figuring this out before it's too late, or else this great experiment called the United States of America has failed.
Well, what's crazy about it is that you have politicians who are adults who act like children, and that's what's crazy about it, is that you have Donald Trump. He's trying to meet a middle of both opinions. And yes, he's, like you said, he's just human. So in the end, his opinion is going to be his opinion, and it's going to be more pushed towards that, that side. It's not based on biasness or this or that. It's just his opinion pushes more towards gun rights, or more towards this, or more towards that. Right. And people out here are saying, hey, well, I just don't respect that. So guess what? I'm going to disrespect this person in general. And that's not what it should be. That's the reason a lot of this stuff is the way it is in the world. We don't respect something that other people have, and then we just destroy it, or we break it, and we try to do that. And that's what the thing is. With the president being the president, we should open our ears and open our eyes and say, you know what, this person we put him in office to represent our country. And we put him in office because we think he has the best opinions amongst everybody else that ran. And we're going to go with most of his opinions that he chooses. There are areas where we're going to say, hey, you can't just go run in and do whatever you want. That's not acceptable.
Right.
But the thing is, when you're trying to fix something and no one wants to take your advice on it, or take your opinion based on, because a group of 30 people or a group of 40 people over here say, hey, well, we just don't like that idea, and that's completely stupid because you want money for this, but you're trying to fix this.
Right.
It takes things you have to give and take.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do that.
And you know what the great thing about the United States of America is, and the U.S. Constitution? You ready for this? If you don't like the president, you wait 4 years and you vote again. Yeah. And if he still wins, guess what? He can only run for 4 more years, and then he's done. He's done, and then you can move on, and you can do something else. You can look.
You know what else is great about America?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like it, you can always leave.
That is true.
Always leave. It's not like you can't just get up and go to another country. You can apply for a visa and go to another country.
Wait. You mean this isn't like North Korea? Seriously? This whole time? No, you're right. And you're right. And that's the thing. Now, if President Trump tomorrow would get up and say, hey, I'm signing an executive order stating that I can be in as many times as possible, like the China, I guess he's the dictator now, the life-appointed Xi. Well, he did that. And if Trump did that tomorrow, I'm sure many of us would say this ain't going to happen. And I'm sorry to say this, but we would probably take up arms to dethrone him. That is what the Second Amendment is for, is to defend ourselves from a tyrannical government. And I would hope that all we would have to do is vote that person out. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. But he's the president of the United States. He's our commander in chief. Respect him. All you have at most is 8 years, 7 more years left. And if you don't like him, just be patient. He's going to be gone before you know it. All right. And we have someone else to despise after that. So, it's all cyclical.
That was a great question, though.
Great question, Tom, man. That's awesome. Let's stick on the do you have any sporting news? I'd like to stick on it because I have one more sporting news.
Well, as everybody knows, UMBC was put out the second round, but they did put up a valiant effort. They
Yeah.
almost won. I mean,
Wow. Almost won.
great game. It's almost the underdog story again. And,
Wow. So they went ahead and they ruined millions of brackets and then was like, okay, I'm going to lose now and be out of the tournament.
yeah. Well, I mean, there was just so many upsets that if anybody came out and told me they had 30 teams predicted, I'd be like, no way. That's almost basically impossible.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how the upsets happen and the teams that lost. And I mean, North Carolina losing, like,
yeah,
Virginia losing, like, no one can predict that kind of stuff. I am very excited though for the new football league, like you said, like that and the XFL coming back. I mean, man, I might give me a shoulder reconstruction and be back out there. Who knows?
Be back out there. Yeah, you could do it. I'm excited.
See.
I'll be your water boy. Don't expect me to run anywhere because that's not going to happen. All right, I got some awesome news. This is great. When I read this, I was like, I got to talk about this. Now, left-hander Martin Perez, I think he's Texas Rangers pitcher. A while back, I don't know if you guys knew this, but he was charged by a bull. A bull actually charged him, and he had to jump out of the way, and he broke his elbow because of it. His elbow.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So yeah, we only have about 10 more minutes, but I just want you guys to know. So he got his elbow broken. So what does he do? This dude, he killed the bull and ate him.
That is awesome.
He killed the bull and ate him. All right.
Did he kill him with his hands?
Well, he had a broken elbow, so I don't know. Maybe just hand. But you know what he said? I killed him and ate him. It was good. It was good meat. And then he said, "This is the quote. It was good meat. No more bull." It was good meat. No more bull. Incredible.
Well, by God, he is a Texan now for sure.
He is definitely a Texan. Definitely a Texan. So listen, man, we probably have enough time for one more story. Zoom meeting here is saying that we have probably 9 minutes actually. So let's hit one more story.
Oh, before we leave, Brett, can you go ahead and give us some strange news?
I got some strange news. Now this is incredible. I could not believe this is actually news. And this is the problem with humanity. If you haven't lost hope in humanity yet, just do it. All right. Family arrested after bedridden woman found decomposing and crawling with maggots and cockroaches.
That is gross.
She was found in a living room on a bed covered in feces and bugs. A woman found alive in her bed, her legs decomposing and covered in maggots and cockroaches. Now the caretakers are under investigation. According to the incident report, when firefighters arrived, they found an obese woman living in deplorable conditions. About a month ago, the same crew came to the home transport of the woman from the hospital to her home. Because of her weight, they used a mega mover, a tarp that is used for moving larger patients, hence the word mega mover. According to the incident report, they left the tarp at home. When they arrived on the call March 15th, the tarp, which is normally white, was covered in feces and had turned completely brown and black. The incident report read, the patient was still on top of the same mega mover they used a month ago. Firefighters said they saw the woman's legs completely black and showing signs of decomposition. She was covered in maggots, cockroaches that were eating her flesh. According to the incident report, her condition was unknown at this time. The fire department said they did not believe she would live much longer and felt a moral obligation to report this. Can you believe there are people, the caretakers right now, the son is one of the caretakers and the son's wife, I believe, and they are under investigation right now. No crap.
That's strange.
Isn't that?
That is strange.
That's disgusting.
That would be on the ID channel.
That would be on the ID channel. But first, they're going to have a what Lifetime original movie. So
the biggest question is, was she obese because she just couldn't get out of bed, or were they feeding her?
Well,
because I watched a movie where people did this and they made bets on how long the person would live.
Well, they brought her from the hospital a month ago with a mega mover, so she was already big.
Oh yeah.
So, but the fact that after a month they didn't touch her,
the tarp.
Imagine the stench.
So she probably cooked because of the tarp. was left underneath her. That's pretty nasty.
She probably cooked. She was decomposing. And it also says in the article that there was in her son's room, there was a 2-foot high of empty cans of Monster Energy drinks.
Wow.
Which is appropriate because it was a pretty monstrous thing that he did. And also, they said there was just garbage and cockroaches lining all the walls of the house. So they were probably, she was probably getting Social Security and stuff, and they didn't care about her. They just wanted money, and they were going smoking meth or something. I don't want to be the guy that would assume things, but I'm pretty sure meth had something to do with it. I'm pretty sure.
Did you have bites missing out of her? Could have been spice.
This is not a laughing matter.
Spice or bath sauce. No, it's not. What's sad about it is that when you have kids take care of you and you're a parent, you think in the end your kids would take care of you because you took care of them growing up.
Right.
Society today is so sadistic that people will let their own parents rot in their own house and not do nothing. Whether it's for money, whether it's just out of don't want to take care of somebody, and that's pretty inhumane.
It's pretty bad, and it's very strange. That's why it was in strange news. Yeah.
But like you said, that's why humanity is being lost. Like we're becoming cannibalistic animals.
Yes, I agree. And Live PD showed me that. All right. Well, listen, man, it's so awesome getting to speak to you for a few minutes. We had so many more news stories that we didn't get to talk about, but we're running out of time. Robbie, you have anything to say?
Rob, you can go ahead and sign on to our Zoom, start getting on our link and sign on to our Facebook and like our pages. We're on here every week, taking inputs from people. And if you have any comments or anything, just go ahead and leave them in the chat box and we'll try to get to your story. Also, we'll try to get to your comment and we'll send a shout out to you.
Awesome. Tom, great question, buddy. Matt, Mom, thank you guys so much for joining. Listen, don't forget, we have a YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe and click that notification button. We put the video on, and then on SoundCloud, you go ahead and subscribe to that. We put the audio on. You can listen to it as much as you want. It'll be awesome. My voice is not as good as Robbie's there, but you're gonna fight through it. Thank you guys so much for joining in. We'll see you next week, and we are out of here.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Pieces.